Okay, hello folks. Yes, it's Sunday evening. It's almost 10 o'clock. So why not better than to bore you with even more of my movies. This is, I believe, my last video. It could be not last video about my Blu-ray. But let's have a look. I'm not gonna, go crazy talking for hours again. Well, I might go for half an hour at least. But it is starting at P and it should go to the end, but it's quite a lot to go through, so I might cut down this to 2 videos. But I'm going to start right away now. So, you know the drill. I'm showing you the covers and I'm just giving you a little comment about what I think about the film. So starting at P is Guillermo del Toro, which I've talked about. He did Hellboy and many other great films. A great visionary, good director. He was supposed to do The Hobbit, but he couldn't do it. He jumped off that project, and Peter Jackson did that. But one of his best films, the most imaginative films, is Pan's Labyrinth. Yes, this is a film you have to check out if you like really great fantasy. It's a really bizarre film with lots of quirky characters. It's very dark, but it's a really great fantasy film with a fantastic production design, camera work, and just directing. Pan's Labyrinth. Check it out. Okay, I love 80s. I love 80s comedies, and I love Steve Martin. I grew up with Steve Martin, and this is one of his funniest films in my opinion. Not the best film he did, but it's certainly kind of a forgotten film. It's called Parenthood, and which is great. I'm a parent, so I know how it is having a child. And so if you like films about being parent and things going wrong in a very funny way, this is a great film. Parenthood from 1989, I believe. It's also starring Tom Hulce. I don't know if you can see a picture there. Tom Hulce. It's one of the only films I've ever seen him, except for Amadeus. He's the guy that played Amadeus in Amadeus, in Milos Forman's film. He's got a small role in this, and that's the only film I've ever seen him in, except for Amadeus. Of course, as a collector, I need these big movies, and of course, Pirates of the Caribbean is a necessity. This is the first film. I still think this is the best film. Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, not the greatest actors in the world, but they fulfill their purpose in this. Jeffrey Rush is one of my favorite actors of all time. He's in this, of course. You all know Pirates. This is the first one. It's from 2003, I believe, so it's quite many years ago. I'm looking forward to the new one, which is now the 5th one coming out. I'm just going to show you this as well. This is the second one, Dead Man's Chest. Very overblown, but still enjoyable movie. They're a little too long, in my opinion, the sequels. Or all Pirates are a little too long. It just drags on a bit, but it's got very memorable music by Hans Zimmer. But if you like crazy adventure films, of course Pirates is great, and it's good for kids. Just showing you the 3rd cover there. This is what it's called, At World's End. This is the number 3. I don't know if you can see, maybe the light is a bit weird. It's shining here too much. I was talking about this in my first video, and I said that I'll come back to these films because I was talking about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I have, of course, the rest of the films. This is Planet of the Apes collection with slim cases. I'm not a big fan of slim cases. I'm not a huge fan of box sets that jam movies together too much because I like to have them individual, as I mentioned before, but this was just too good not to buy. And these are all the films. I'm going to take out the box and just show you quickly this is the original Planet of the Apes from 1968 with Charlton Heston. This is the best one. Really good sci-fi movie. You know, and great makeup effects. I'm not sure he won an Oscar for makeup. It was certainly nominated, I'm sure. It's from 1968. Good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's got one of the best twist endings of all. So I'm not gonna. If you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna spoil. It spawned a franchise, and you know, the films were made in the 70s. The rest of them. This is Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which is the first sequel. This is Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Looks like that. And then it was Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes. And they came out like every other year in the 70s until like 1975 or something. 75, 76. This is Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And then there was a long wait. And then in 2001, so it was like, 25 years until the next one came, was made by none other than Tim Burton. And it was just simply a remake called Planet of the Apes. And it was still made in the way that you had actors playing the apes in makeup. And of course, this film is from 2001, I think. And of course, the makeup is great, of course. But the film is just weird and very disappointing. It's one of the Tim Burton films that's very disappointing. And I have never met anyone who understands the ending. Because of the first original film's ending, twist ending, but that one you understood. This one nobody understands. I haven't met anyone who understands the ending of this film. And it's just kind of bad. I don't know what it is. It's just disappointing. So, but that's part of the collection as well. So when they, many years later, I don't know, 2011 or something, said that they're going to make another Planet of the Apes, I was like, no, just leave this alone now. But it blew my mind. This is an amazing film. It's called Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Totally different in tone and style with CG apes, and wow, it was really good. I mean, it was the ape in the film, or the apes in the film, are all digital and they look real. And it's not like person in makeup. It's actually a chimpanzee, you know, a real monkey, so to speak. And it works really, really, really well. And it really gave birth and a new start to this franchise, which was needed. And it different in style. And I really love this. And I love the sequel, Dawn to the Planet of the Apes, which I spoke about in my first video, which was the sequel to this one. And that one's great as well. And this year, 2017, in summer, is War for the Planet of the Apes, which is now then the third film from the new, rebooted franchise, which I'm looking forward to. So I'm a big fan of Planet of the Apes. The whole 60s, 70s, the original franchise goes down in quality. The first one's great, and it really goes like little worse, because they had also less and less money to make the films, and they were quite low budgety. But they're still entertaining. I wouldn't throw them in the bin. They're great as they are, but you have to sort of take them for what they are. But the new franchise from Rise and Dawn, fantastic. Check it out. You might skip the Burton one, though. Okay, now this is classic 90s movie, Point Break. Patrick Swayze, rest in peace. Keanu Reeves, one of his earliest films. This is fun action. It is funny because it's directed by a woman. I'm saying that because it's very unusual for a woman Hollywood director to make pretty big action movies, and that is pretty cool. She succeeds very well. This is a great kind of almost cult 90s movie. Point Break. Lots of action, surfing, skydiving, and so on. Okay, I don't know what to start about this, but I grew up with these films. It's 80s stuff, and yeah, I just love this stuff. But they are what they are, and people really degrade these films, and I can understand, but you should really take them for what they are. And it is, of course, Police Academy. You know, the series that had a monumental number of sequels. This film is the first one, is the funniest one. I've actually designed. I didn't design these. I kind of printed these from a special web page. You cannot buy the Police Academy movies in single individual cases like this. These were specifically ordered from a website by fans that create original posters for the Blu-rays. I love them. They're fantastic. It looks symmetrical and beautiful. Police Academy, 1984, classic. Just, of course, gonna have to show you quickly number 2, number 3. 3 is really great. They're funny. They kind of, yeah. The first one's the best one. 2 is disappointing. It has funny moments. 3 is really funny. 4 is fairly funny. It's okay. It's not fantastic. 5 gets really not great credit because Steve Guttenberg wasn't in these films. He was in 1 to 4, and by 5 he didn't want to be part of it, I think. But 5 is still very funny. 6 is underrated. I'm not going to talk about the plot in these things, but this is number 6. I love the posters for the police academies. And this one is Mission to Moscow, which was the one that was made like 5 years after Part 6. They all came out 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 94. So it was 5 years. And this one's horrible. You have to see this film because it is horrendously bad. And I'm proud because I saw this in the cinema at the premiere and there were like 4 people in the cinema. So I am pretty proud of that. It doesn't actually have the 7 in the title. This is something that's added by the fans. So because it's symmetrical when you have them in the shelf. So enough about Police Academy. Everybody knows Police Academy. Okay. Everyone knows from my past videos, that I'm a big fan of disaster movies. This is no exception. This is the greatest disaster movie, or one of the greatest, and it's The Poseidon Adventure from 1972. Yes, this is the Gene Hackman movie. It's got Ernest Borgnine in it. I don't know if you film fans know these names, but you know Gene Hackman, but Ernest Borgnine maybe you don't know. He's a classic actor. This is pretty much the film, and together with Airport, that started the whole disaster movie craze of the 70s. Check this one out. That the effects are slightly dated, but you have to sort of expect that. It is 45 years old, this film already. So I kind of, the thing is that I don't get people who complain that the effects were bad and stuff because they're used to seeing modern films. I have the ability to put on an old film and kind of put myself in the audience of that time, and I like kind of can adapt to what kind of film it is based on from which year it is or what decade it is. So I appreciate the effects that they could do in those times, and you have to sort of, be respectful to that. This is a great disaster movie, and it's a great drama with fine special effects, and but it's very character driven, which I like, unlike the remake Poseidon, which has fantastic effects, but the characters is just no good. Okay, what do we have next? I don't know if I should talk about this film because people have so many comments about this. Prometheus. Yes, everyone knows Prometheus is the prequel to Alien. And there is another Alien coming this summer, Alien Convent. What is it called? Yeah, anyway. So I'm looking forward to that because I enjoyed this. I was very hyped up about this. I think it has its faults. I don't particularly like the script and some of the dialogue and acting in it. It just is too modern or too just stupid in some scenes. But it's a fine science fiction film. I think it's fair to say that it's a good prequel to Alien, although it's sort of not finished yet. So we'll see what happens in the next film. Prometheus, I enjoyed it, but it's flawed as well. But Ridley Scott, you can never almost go wrong with. what can I say? Classic. Tom Cruise, Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman, I should say, Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman winning the Oscar. I saw this in the cinema in 1988. I was young, but I never forget it. Great music, great acting, just fantastic. It's very stereotypical story of autism, but you know, this kind of set the tone for many other similar films that want to tell the story of, let's say, yeah, people, characters who are not kind of on the level of the rest of us, let's say. But it is highly enjoyable still, and I love Rain Man. Rain Man is great. Now this is difficult because I don't like the packagings of these films. I love this series, but I'm not a fan of how they've packaged these, and I'd like to have like a better box or better covers for these. But for the moment, this will have to do. Rambo, which is so incorrect because for film people, everybody who knows, the first Rambo with Stallone is not called Rambo at all. It's called First Blood. So I don't know why it's called Rambo in this collection. The second one, Rambo 2. The correct title, of course, is Rambo First Blood Part 2. So again, it's wrong. The only one that's correct is this one, which is, of course, the third one, called Rambo 3. That is the correct title. But of course, it kind of makes sense when you have them all in Rambo 1, Rambo 2, Rambo 3. But I don't like it. Being a really perfectionist of titles, I don't like to have them with the wrong cover, wrong title. So I'd like to sort of re-get these somehow. It also becomes confusing because the film from 2008 or 9, which is sort of the fourth Rambo movie, well, sort of, it is the fourth Rambo movie, it's just simply called Rambo here. So, people who are confused, you've got the first film called Rambo, and the fourth film called Rambo. So what's like going on? It's like the titling is crazy. And not only that, this one's called Rambo on the cover, but yet when you put the film on the on-screen title, it's called John Rambo. So, you know, the titling of these movies is completely wacky. But I know which one is first and second and third and fourth, but it's annoying for me. Regarding the films, the first one's the best, First Blood, or Rambo 1, definitely the best one. Really, if you haven't checked it and you've just heard about explosions and guns and muscles, the first film is enough to watch because it is a really, really good film, actually. Not too much action at all in it, actually. There is some of it, but the story is really good. It's from part 2 that it gets crazy, you know, where it's close-ups of muscles and guns and slow-mo and helicopters and stuff and so on. But they fulfill their purpose. I grew up with Rambo. I love Rambo. Gotta get new versions, though. So that was a long speech about Rambo. Just quickly going through here. The next one. The next one is completely different from Rambo. It is The Reader. Yes, The Reader is a film which was nominated, I think, for Best Film and Actress, Kate Winslet. Great film, very emotional, about a young boy who falls in love with an older woman, and then she turns out to be something that he's not expecting. And you know, it's sort of a mystery, sensual drama. She can't read, he reads to her. That's why it's called The Reader. Ray Fiennes is in it as well, who's a great actor. Check this film out if you want a good, just simply a good drama movie, The Reader. This is the only Adam Sandler movie that I sort of enjoy. I am not a fan of Adam Sandler, but this is called Reign Over Me. It's with Don Cheadle as well. Don't be put off by the storyline. It is about 9/11. It's not about 9/11. It's about how the effects of the character that Adam Sandler plays, his wife dies in 9/11, and he's, not being able to cope with life, and his friend Don Cheadle is trying to cheer him up, and so it's a drama. It's Adam Sandler makes really ridiculously wacky comedies, but he's actually very good in this film. Reign Over Me. You might want to check it out. Don't get discouraged by the whole 9/11 thing. There's no airplanes, buildings falling down. It's really, an acting film. So, and Don Cheadle is a great actor. Okay. Lastly, on R, or maybe not, there might be more. This film again, Kate Winslet, Revolutionary Road. I'm sure many of you have seen this film. It is the amazing return of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet together again since Titanic in completely different movie and roles. This is high-class acting, directed by Sam Mendes. I think it was nominated also for movie and definitely for acting. If you want to watch great acting, great directing in a good, intense drama, Revolutionary Road is fantastic. I love this film. Great movie. Okay, moving on to... Wow, I love the diversity of films I have. Police Academy, Revolutionary Road. Okay, this is a film that was loved and hailed when it came out, and during the course of time, it really got a bad rep. People started throwing rotten eggs at it, and they really hated it, and then Russell Crowe made a version of it, and suddenly everyone realized this version is actually really cool. So it went from being loved to being hated to being loved again, and I love it, and I've always loved it. Sue me. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Yes. Kevin Costner, the American Robin Hood. This is good stuff. 1991, I believe. I think I even saw it in the cinema. Sean Connery has a cameo at the very end of this film, which was unexpected. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves has gained like a great rep again, and I'm happy because it is a really good adventure movie. I mean, Robin Hood, I don't need to explain. I love Prince of Thieves. Just really quickly, because nobody probably... This is, I think, impossible to get in anywhere but in Sweden. But if you like Astrid Lindgren, this is the film that I grew up with. Ronja Rövardotter. Ja, dotter. Slightly Swedish-American. Ronja Rövardotter. I grew up with this. It's from 1984. A fantastic fantasy adventure film by Astrid Lindgren, who created Pippi Longstocking and various other famous children's stories. And this was one of my favorites, Ronja Rövardotter. All my Swedish friends definitely can vouch. I have never met anyone who doesn't like Ronja. This is great. If you can get this with English subtitles, if you don't understand Swedish, please check this out. If you have kids, try to get this. Ronja Rövardotter is fantastic. There's actually two versions of this on that Blu-ray. There's like a long TV version and the theatrical shorter version. Now, in every video that I've done so far, I've always had some movie about racing. I think in my first video, I was talking about Grand Prix, the greatest racing movie ever, almost. And then in my second video or third video, I don't know, I talked about Le Mans with Steve McQueen, and that really rivals Grand Prix. I can't decide if Grand Prix or Le Mans is the better film. They are fantastic racing movies. Just no stupid love drama in between. Maybe there are some stuff for relationships, but it's kept to a very minimum, and it's all about the racing and the drivers. And this is very similar, but it's got a little bit more meat to it. It doesn't come close to the other two, but this was really, really good. It's called Rush, and it's one of these covers that changes. It's like a 3D cover. If I move it, you've got the two characters there. Rush was awesome, really good Formula One, based on true story from the from the two rival drivers of that time. I cannot remember the names of them. Not the actors, but the Niki Lauda. That's right, Niki Lauda and James Hunt, two legendary Formula One drivers from the 70s that rivaled each other, and this is the kind of true story of that, and it's got some fantastic driving scenes in it. Rush, check it out. Great racing movie, great directing, great acting. I love Rush. I don't know who's seen this film, but I haven't met anyone who has anything really great to say about this. I don't understand this film. I should maybe like check it out again, but it's just weird for me. It's called Salmon Fishing in Yemen. In the Yemen. You might have heard of this, but man, this was weird. This film is... I don't get it. It was just boring. I heard good things about it before I saw it, but the title is just horrendous. I mean, let's go and see salmon fishing in the Yemen. That's like a great... That sounds awesome. I don't know. I should maybe, whenever I'm maybe ill or something, or I'm, I should check it out again, because the rating, fantastic, great, hugely enjoyable, fantastic, British comedy of the year, delightful. Okay, I didn't get it, but maybe I should check it out again. Maybe I just didn't understand it. And here's the film that was kind of a big action movie that sort of nobody ever talks about. I don't know quite why, because I think it's a solid action movie. It's called Salt with Angelina Jolie. Salt was really very well made. It's a good action movie with a lot of twists. I really like this. I love the cover of this. This is another one of my steel books. That's how it looks at the back. I mean, this is not, the Godfather kind of films, but I mean, from an action point of view, an action film's point of view, Salt was really good. It was solid. I really enjoyed this. Maybe it has its faults, but you have to really be on your toes to keep up, because there are lots of twists and whose side is that character on, and then it changes and changes, and that person's not. It's, if I remember correctly, I had difficulty in keeping up with this, but action-wise, I have no complaints. This is a Czech film. It's called Sabotage. I think all Czech people have seen this film, or most Czech people. It's a fine, funny Czech film. It's really, really funny, actually, Sabotage. And it's directed by David Ondříček, who I've worked with a couple of times on some commercials and other stuff. Even a film also called Grand Hotel many years ago. So I support anything he does. He's done some very good, fine work, actually. So Sabotage, for all you international people watching, I think this doesn't mean anything. Just saying that I have it in my collection. It's a funny film. Okay, this is a film I haven't seen. I just got it because as everybody knows, I'm like the disaster genre, and this was one of them. I haven't seen it yet. San Andreas with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. It didn't get too well received. Not sure if it made too much money, but it's all about the end of the world, and I am a sucker for that. San Andreas, I have to see it. I don't know. If you've seen it, write so in the comments. I don't know. Let me know. Don't have too much horror movies. I did have like I said, the Friday the 13th films. I've got the Halloween films on DVD. Another trilogy with a part 4 that I have on DVD. I've got 1, 2, and 3 on DVD, and I have number 4 on Blu-ray, and I'm just going through the Blu-ray. So is the Scream films. This is Scream 4, which came out many, many years later after part 3. Scream 4 does what it's supposed to do. I was a little disappointed, but I kind of expected it to be what it finally was, and which was fine. Sorry, I have to click something here. Scream 4 is, it was a nice reunion film. It kind of like, it was bringing all the gang back together for one last scare kind of film. So it's kind of a retro movie for the people that saw the Scream trilogy in the cinema and then grew up and it's kind of forgot about it, and then suddenly this film comes along. Same director, all the same stars, a little bit older. But yeah, solid. This was not disappointing in my opinion. Too much. A little bit maybe, but you know, it was fine. This is one of the best documentaries. Again about racing. The legendary Ayrton Senna, who died in 1994. This documentary is just called Senna. I love this documentary. If you want to see a great documentary made in a specific style that I've never seen before, it's only made up of archive footage of Ayrton Senna and people that knew him. It's not like the talking heads, you know, interviews and remembering him. It's really like taken from archive footage only, and they've built a whole story about him because there's so much footage of him and even him talking about coming races and his future and his how he grew up and how he started, blah blah blah. It's really, really, really good, and it's sad, of course, at the end. Senna, check it out. It's not. You don't have to be a fan of racing to check this film out, in my opinion. It helps to understand a little bit the passion, but as just a documentary, it's really good. Senna, check it out. I see check it out after each film. It's going to be my slogan. Yeah, the Coen brothers. I've shown some films in my collection before, in my previous videos with the Coens. I love everything Coen does. There are one or two films that were not very... they were more forgetful, but, you know, in a series of, I don't know how many films they've made, like 15, 20 films, you know, 2 or 3 are bad, and this is a great one. It's called The Serious Man. I love this film. It's funny, it's dark, and it's quirky, and it's got great acting, cinematography. You can't take your eyes off the screen. You laugh loud, and it's sad as well in parts. A Serious Man. Check it out. It's a good, good film. I said it again. Check it out. Okay. I have the Bond films in a box, the 50th anniversary collection, but they didn't have the latest films, so I had to buy them separately. Skyfall, everybody, I think most people have seen Skyfall. Great Daniel Craig Bond film. It is his second best film, Casino Royale being the best one in my opinion, followed by Skyfall and then Spectre, and finally the awful Quantum of Solace. Skyfall I have here on separate Blu-ray. This is a great film, and a lot of people who haven't seen it are like skeptical because it's like known as the Facebook movie, blah blah blah. How can you make a film about Facebook? It's called The Social Network, as many of you probably know. Look at the ratings. Sorry, it has here all the great, you know, revolutionary, American landmark, sensational, brilliant film. I agree with all these statements. It is a really good film about the creation of Facebook, and you know, the story behind Mark Zuckerberg, who created Facebook. What's his name? The actor in it. Gosh, I'm so bad. Andrew Garfield, Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg is amazing in this film. Oh my god. So if you want to know about the history of Facebook, how Facebook started, and you know, all that stuff behind, it sounds boring like a movie about Facebook, but it is not. Check this film out, The Social Network. Good movie. It's also directed by David Fincher, and anything David Fincher does is fantastic. This is a film that my wife bought me because she saw it and thought it was great. I missed it in the cinema, so I'm happy she got it for me, I think for my birthday or something. I think it was like 2 years ago. Good movie. Source Code. This is cool, kind of a 3D cover on it. Source Code, if you want adrenaline, time-traveling action, takes mostly place on a train, and it's like does the same scenes over and over again, but he has to figure out every time how to survive. I think it's like a bomb on a train or something, and he has to, every time the bomb explodes, he dies, but he's thrown back again to retry it and go further and to help him survive and to figure out how to save himself and everyone. Or I'm not, you know, don't quote me on that, but it's in that sort of line that the story is. Source Code. Jake Gyllenhaal is a fine, good actor, very popular now. Source Code, check it out. Very good film, in my opinion. A lot of tension. Okay, I'm not going to go all Bond on you, but this is, of course, Spectre, which I had to also get separately. This is Daniel Craig's, out of the 4 films he's made, this is the 3rd best one. So, the 2nd worst, in my opinion. You may disagree, and you may do so if you want. Okay. Now, this I can talk about, but I'm not going to very much. The Wachowski brothers, now the Wachowski sisters, I'm not going to comment more on that, who did the Matrix trilogy, which is a, you know, cult, at least the first film is, but the whole trilogy's become kind of a cult. And they really haven't made a good film since, in my opinion. This one completely bombed, but I grew up watching the cartoon, so this was special to me, so I like this film. It's called Speed Racer. Yes. No one who's seen this likes it, because it's weird, but Speed Racer is, for me, really cool. Because I grew up watching the cartoon. I used to love watching Speed Racer when I was 10 or 12, and this is exactly like the cartoon was, but this is a live action film. And it's just like the characters are in the cartoon, in my opinion. So I like Speed Racer, but not a lot of people who seen this like it. It is strange. It's like a live cartoon film. You have to sort of see it to understand it, but most people will probably not like it. Just quickly, yes, I'm a collector of, you know, movie franchises, so, you know, this is one huge successful franchise, Spider-Man. This is the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire series. Yes, from 2002. This is the film, along with the first X-Men, that started the whole superhero craze that is still going on today. I don't understand how that bubble has not burst, because I'm not into it anymore. At the time, I loved Spider-Man and X-Men, and I was a big fan of these superhero movies in the sort of, you know, early 2000 until sort of 2009-10, when I started to get a little bit already tired of it, or very tired of it by then. It was like a 9, 10, 11 year period, and I was just, you know, and it's still going on. It's 2017 now, and it's just going on, and you've got it's just tiresome, in my opinion. I can't keep up anymore. But I love these first films. So Spider-Man 2, which is probably an improvement over the first film. Spider-Man 2 is awesome. And the disappointing third film, Spider-Man 3. It was very high expectancy, because 2 was a big, big success and very good film. So 3 had lots of expectancy, which was, I think, very bad for the filmmakers. They really went overboard with this one. But if you've seen 1 and 2, you might as well check out 3. That's the way it is. You know, it's not going to kill you. It's still an enjoyable film, part 3, but it's just not up to par quite. I don't know if I should just continue how long. I've still got a bunch left, but I might as well get them over with. I don't know. I'll just go through quickly. I'm not going to comment this. This is the Star Wars box. I think everybody who loves Star Wars has this box. If you have Blu-ray, you most likely have this. I mean, this is like one of the biggest sellers of all time in Blu-ray. Star Wars box. I'm not going to comment. Star Wars is Star Wars. It's legendary movies. And anyone who's not seen Star Wars must be electrocuted. It is crazy if you've not seen Star Wars. I didn't mean that, you know, I'm just saying. Okay, this is an embarrassing film. I don't know why I have it. It was cheap, and I like all kind of films, but I like action adventure films a lot as well, especially. I wouldn't say that. I like all types of genres, not too much romantic comedies. But this is an embarrassing film because it's horrendously bad. But it's got amazing actors in it. Jamie Foxx, Jessica Biel, and Josh Lucas. It's called Stealth. And it's directed by Rob Cohen, who did The Fast and the Furious and Triple X, which I really love. So I was like, this is probably like an underrated film. But I bought it and I saw it and it's really, really bad. Don't see that film, Stealth. Next not so great film is a film called Swat. But this is more enjoyable than Stealth. That's not saying much, but it's certainly, you know, Stealth is like 1 star. This is a weak 3 or a really strong 2. Yeah, it's Hollywood, big explosion, crazy action kind of film. So if you want to just blow your neighbors out with your super sound system at home, this might be it. It's not bad. It's not that bad. It is what it is. I'm not going to spend time watching SWAT. Well. Okay. This is a very intense, political, very deep film, and I need to see it again because it was so deep and full of twists. God, my telephone. That I couldn't keep up, but it is a really good acting film. George Clooney, Matt Damon, very serious movie, a very adult movie, Syriana. I think it's from 2005. Yes, 2005. It's 128 minutes long, but if you're into a deep subject, you know, political kind of film about the Middle East, this is a definitely recommendable film. But you really have to be on your toes and concentrated in order to follow everything. But this is a film that I saw in the cinema which I enjoyed, but I didn't quite understand. I need to really see it again to see if I can be a little bit more clever about it. But highly recommended. Okay, quickly moving along to something else, and I am now confused because I've put my DVDs in the wrong order. So Syriana, so I should probably, I think this is the next one. I stacked my Blu-rays, but I stacked them in the wrong kind of pile, but I think this is the next one. It's called Terminal Velocity. This is a film that a lot of people haven't seen. I saw this in the cinema in 1994, Charlie Sheen. Wacky airplane parachuting. It's kind of like a Point Break Part 2. It's, you know, you can check the back. You know, this is the kind of thing that you're expecting. I like the title, Terminal Velocity. See it. It's, you know, a Sunday morning kind of action movie, you know, or if you're sick at home and just want some bubble gum for your eyes, check this out. Terminal Velocity. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I need to get, because, again, I have a lot of them on DVD, and this is continuing that trend, where I have 1, 2, and 3 on DVD, but I need to rebuy them on Blu-ray because they're just legend, and that's the Terminator films. This is Terminator Salvation, which is the worst one. Or is it this one, or is it Genesis? I don't know. Basically, I want the whole Terminator film, the whole franchise on Blu-ray. This is the only one that I have on Blu-ray. This came out at the same time as one of the, what are they called, those Michael Bay movies? Transformers, which I hate. The first one's fairly okay, but the rest are awful in my opinion. I can't believe they're making billions and billions of dollars. This one came out like at the same time as Transformers 2, and I saw them in the same, I think, week, and that's why I preferred this. I thought this was a way better quality film than Transformers, but that's not saying much. It's really gotten quite a bad rep in later years, this film. It's the only one that doesn't star Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, you know, a Terminator film without him is a missed opportunity. Of course, he was in his political career when this was made, so he couldn't be in this, and yet they wanted to continue the story and so on. Terminator Salvation is a very well-made action film, but it's somehow... I can't say. I'm okay with this film, and I enjoy this film, but I'd rather see 1, 2, and 3. Actually, yes, I'd rather see 3, because it's just Arnold. This is an amazing film, and a lot of people haven't seen this. It's called There Will Be Blood, with Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the greatest actors ever. Long film. It's by the guy that did Boogie Nights and Magnolia. Paul Thomas Anderson, that's it. P.T. Anderson, as he's called. Check this out. It's a long film, Oscar-nominated movie. This is, you know, Oscar stuff. Drama. Great, great, great acting. One of the best acting performances ever. There Will Be Blood. Check it out. Okay, sorry. Quickly, yes, as a Michael fan, of course, I have to have This Is It. I have This Is It on Blu-ray, and for the fans of this film, my Michael Jackson fans who have this on DVD, get it on Blu-ray, because it's better on Blu-ray. Really crisp, sharp picture, with a lot of more extra features that you didn't get on the DVD. So This Is It is a sad film, of course, for us fans, but it is the only possibility to get a glimpse of how that last tour would have looked like, and it's close to my heart. This Is It. Really was it. Yeah, again, Marvel franchise thing, Thor. I enjoyed Thor. I think it's good. I enjoyed the second one, which I don't have. But Thor is... I think it's good. It's not the greatest of the Marvel things, but it's kind of... If you like Marvel and you follow the whole thing and you want to get like an introduction to the characters before they meet in Avengers, Thor is one of those films. You know, it's a little wild and too crazy with special effects, but it's fairly fine. I'm not going to comment more on that. This I'm going to comment because this is an ultra classic must-have film. Tora, Tora, Tora. Yes, that's what it's called. It's from, I think, 1970. Amazing flying battle scenes about the... This is the film about the attack on Pearl Harbor. Not Pearl Harbor, but Tora, Tora, Tora. If you want to see both the American and Japanese side of the whole event, this is the film. Amazing action scenes for its time. No special computer effects, but done all for real. Tora, Tora, Tora. Long, long film. Again, I'm not going to comment on the running time of all films. 145 minutes. They speak Japanese in it as well. Not the whole film. It's switching between American and Japanese. See this film if you really want to see a good film about Pearl Harbor. Another great 70s disaster movie. One of the best and all-time classic, The Towering Inferno. About a skyscraper that's on fire, which is very, very scary to watch today because we all know what happened on 9/11 when the Twin Towers fell. Very similar, and this is made, you know, 30 years before 9/11. And what's scary is the last line of dialogue by Steve McQueen, and Steve McQueen says the line something like, "We were lucky today. One of these days, you know, thousands of people are going to die in one of these." And it's a very ironic last line in the film. But this is full of stars. Packed. I mean, jam-packed. There is no other film that has more